Studying is reading. Remembering is recalling without looking at anything. You know, you studied this, you just revised it yesterday. The formula is right there, somewhere in your brain. But you can't access it. The harder you try to remember, the more it slips away. This is number one fear every student has walking into boards. Today I am fixing that with real practical memory tricks for physics, chemistry, mathematics and biology. In video 2 and 3, we talked about study techniques and managing anxiety. Those videos touched in on memory. But this video is 100% hands-on. I am showing you actual formula, actual reactions, actual theorems, and exactly how to lock them into your brain so you never blank out mid-exam. Let's go subject by subject. Class 12th physics has a memory nightmare. Formula that looks almost identical but have completely different application. Look at this from electromagnetic induction. Okay, look at this formula. Faraday's law, motional EMF and self-induction. And you can see all these formulas give you EMF but use different variables. In the exam, you panic and grab the wrong one and your marks lost. Group your formula based on the application. If this question mentions flux changing over time or a coil with a very magnetic field, let me show you the formula again. Then you color code this formula, that is your flux group. Now, let's create another group for the same formula, that is EMF from motion into a magnetic field. If the question shows a conductor moving through a magnetic field, like a rod sliding on rails, then you can use these formulas. Have a look on the screen. You can color code these formula as green. Let's group the same formula in another group, that is EMF from changing current, that is inductance. If current in a coil is changing, then this formula showing self-inductance and mutual inductance should appear in your mind. Color code these formula with red color. Let me explain you how you are going to build the memory map. These three scenarios, three colors, now your brain doesn't panic. Question 1 says flux changing, that is blue group. Question 2 showing rod moving, that's green group. Question that mentions current changing is a red group. Now, with these color coding, brain remembers the formula. Apply color coding when you try to remember formula. This is a time-tested memory hack. Do the same grouping for ray optics, particularly for lens equation, magnification, power, and group by whatever you want to group. It is up to you. Also, you do this for modern physics, photoelectric equations, group by known versus unknown variables. You can also do grouping for AC circuits, reactance, impedance, resonance, group by circuit element. Color coding saves you 30 seconds per numerical. That's 5 minutes total on section B. Let's move to the other subject. chemistry. What we are going to do is we are going to build organic reactions memory palace. Okay. So chemistry's biggest memory challenge is alcohols, phenols, aldehydes, ketones and amines. Each functional group has 5 to 7 reactions. That's about 30 plus reactions in total. And they all are blurred together. Let me show you on screen. You have studied all of them, but in the exam you forget which reagent does what. Let's build a memory palace for organic chemistry. I'm just giving you some examples and you can build the memory palace based on your own model. Okay. A memory palace is like a mental map of a familiar places. Your house, your school, where you place reaction in specific location. We will use your house. Let's start from the front door and move through rooms in order. Okay, on front door, let's discuss oxidation of primary alcohol. Let's visualize a bottle of primary alcohol like ethanol sitting on your doorstep. Now you pour acidified K2Cr2O7. That's the orange colored liquid on it, on the alcohol. It transforms into an aldehyde, then a carboxylic acid. Remember, front door, first step, primary alcohol oxidation. You can watch a short on our channel where we have explained the Felling's test with aldehyde. Visualize an aldehyde molecule relaxing on your couch. You pour blue Felling's solution on it. The couch turns red. That's a positive test because of the red precipitate of cuprous oxide. Remember, couch, comfort, aldehydes gives positive Felling's reaction. Ketones don't. They are standing stress on couch. You can see that image. That's how you build the memory maps. When you build the memory maps, when you go in exam, immediately you think about the front door. You think about the living room couch. You think about aldehyde. You think about the Felling's test blue color. You think about the orange color, that is K2Cr2O7. That's how you build the memory palace. You know, you can build the memory palace wherever you want, on your desk, looking at your bathroom, looking at your classroom, looking at your bedroom, closet, whatever. It is up to you to build a memory palace. This also works for coordination compounds. Place different legends for monodentate, bidentate in different rooms. Also works for biomolecules. Place glucose, fructose, proteins in kitchen, that is close to food, that is bio. And you can also do polymers, place additional versus condensation polymers in different areas. Let's move to another subject, mathematics. Theorems as stories. My suggestion is mathematics theorems doesn't stick because we memorize them as abstract statement. Like, let me give you Rolle's theorem example here. The theorem says if a function is continuous on parameter a and b, differentiable on parameter a and b, then function a equal to function b, and then there exists at least one point c where function c equal to c. That's complicated. Now you can remember Rayleigh's theorem with a story. You can create story by your own, or you can ask from AI, or you can also use Wave Edu AI application. Download Wave Edu AI app from App Store and from Google Play Store. It's free. So in Rayleigh's theorem, you start at a point A, that is elevation 100 meter. You climb up, reach some peak, then you come back down to point B, also elevation 100 meters. Somewhere on that journey at the peak, your slope was 0. You stopped climbing and start descending. That 0 slope point, that's your C, where function C equal to 0. Visually, you can remember this closing your eye. If you start and end at the same height, you must have had a horizontal tangent, that is a 0 derivative somewhere in between. Now you see Rayleigh's theorem in the exam, you see the instant recall of the memory during the exam. Same way, you can build memory for mean value theorem, that is Lagrange's theorem. You can also build memory for fundamental theorem of calculus, let's say part 1. And if you are unable to build some palaces, you can watch some of our shorts video on YouTube where we are discussing all these theorems. Let's move to the next subject, that is biology. Biology is always a NCERT keyword anchoring. Biology in class 12th paper is NCERT dependent. MCQs, short answers, even 3 markers come directly from NCERT lines. But NCERT paragraphs are dense. It's very hard to remember and memorize word to word. To me, it's like not possible or close to impossible. We can do keyword anchoring. Let me explain you keyword anchoring. You don't memorize the full definition. You memorize 3 or 5 keywords that anchor the entire concept. When you recall the keywords, the full definition reconstruct itself. Let me explain you double fertilization. NCERT says double fertilization is a characteristic feature of flowering plants in which one male gamete fuses with the egg to form a zygote and the other male gamete fuses with the 2 polar nuclei to form primary endosperm nucleus. That's 37 words, way too long to memorize. Now let's split the keywords. 4 keyword phrases. Either you remember 37 words or you remember 4 keywords. Let's rephrase this with those 4 keywords. Okay? Double fertilization, first keyword, involves 2 male gametes. 2 male gametes is the second keyword. One fuses with the egg, forming a diploid zygote. One fuses with egg, zygote, that is the third keyword, while the other fuses with polar nuclei, forming triploid endosperm. That's the 4th keyword. Same meaning, full marks, and you can remember entire definition with keywords. You can also do keywords for DNA replication, ecological pyramid, or whichever definition, let's say restriction on enzymes for biotechnologies. You can think of keywords. Try not to memorize the entire paragraph. Better from that paragraph, you underline some keywords. And if you want to practice some keywords, download Wave Edu AI. That is free on Google Play Store and iOS App Store. Okay, so how to learn, how to memorize biology? Keyword selection. And then based on the keyword, you phrase the entire definition. Recap everything. The 24-hour memory lock before you go for the final exam. How you are going to lock your memory for next 24 hours so you don't have to panic during the exam. The science behind your brain is that your brain consolidates memories during sleep. But if you don't revisit the information within 24 hours, 80% of it fades. That's why cramming doesn't work. If you keep cramming, it is not going to work. You study, sleep, wake up, and it's gone. To fix, let's do forced recall within 24 hours. How to do it? Okay. Day 1, let's say today, learn a physics formula, learn a chemistry reaction using memory palace, learn a mathematics theorem using storytelling method, learn biology definition using keyword anchoring. Day 2, that's tomorrow, don't reread your notes. Try on a blank paper. Write down the physics formula from your memory, thinking of those groups, colors, and you will recall the formula. Sketch the chemistry reaction from memory. Explain the math theorem in your own words from memory and write the biology definition from your memory. If you can't remember, go back to notes, relearn, try again in 1 hour. Now you remember, it means it's locked. You have just moved it from short-term to long-term memory. After 1 week, recall again, one more time. Now it's permanent. Before we close, let's discuss your memory action plan. Step 1, pick one subject to start with. Step 2, identify 5 high-frequency topics from that subject. If you want to see video 4, how to use previous year pattern, you can watch that video and start from there. Step 3, apply the right memory technique to each topic. Physics formula, visual grouping. Chemistry reaction, memory palace. Maths theorem, study story method. Biology definition, keyword anchoring. Step 4, set a 24 recall alarm. Step 5, use Wave Edu AI for any instant practice. And step 6 is recall your memory, try on a blank paper. Step 7 is after 1 week, bring back the memory, test your memory. If you can remember after 7 days, that's permanent. Keep adding more stuff in a permanent memory and you will get good grades this year. And if you found this series helpful, share it with one friend who's also preparing for board. We all rise together. You have got this. Go lock those memories. See you in